Good evening, everybody. How's it going? It is 5:12 p.m. Mountain Time on Friday, December 3rd. Yes, Friday evening. Gonna get a video in because my businesses have been crazy with people homesick. So I've been filling in, and it's been a wild couple weeks for me. That aligned with the holidays. So want to get a video in today, especially because Bitcoin is dumping, why I bought the dip, what I bought on the dip, what looks good through the dip, and what I've dropped in the last week or so. Also want to go over a little bit of news. We will talk about Bitcoin, of course, as always, and want to get into kind of a new sector with NFTs that I think could be really, really big. So if you like that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It does help the algorithm to help this get out to others who are searching for this information, and it helps me to know that I'm putting out content that is relevant and helpful to the people watching the video. So please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it greatly. Also remember that none of this is financial advice. Everything in this video is for information and educational purposes only. Do your own research. I'm just a trader, not a financial advisor, but I do have my opinions and I do want to share those, so let's get into it. Okay, so let's get right into the headlines. The first thing that I wanted to share is another declined Bitcoin ETF. SEC rejects Wisdom Tree's application for spot Bitcoin ETF. I don't think any ETF that's backed by Bitcoin is going to happen in this cycle. I think it has to happen in a bear market because, as I said before, with an ETF, you have to buy Bitcoin to back it. With a futures ETF, you're just buying the trading of the price of Bitcoin. So with having to do that, it would cause a rally beyond all rallies. It would really manipulate the market, but we do have another rejection, and I think you'll see more of these. According to a Wednesday filing, the SEC rejected a proposed rule change from the CBOE BZX exchange to list and trade shares of Wisdom Tree's Bitcoin Trust. Specifically, the SEC said any rule change in favor of approving the ETF would not be designed to prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts of practices, nor protect investors and the public interest. Let's be honest, the stock market is the most manipulated thing on the planet. But I do agree with this, and I do feel like a Bitcoin ETF that's actually backed by Bitcoin is not the best thing right now in this market. It would cause just incredible volatility because of the buying of Bitcoin. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it wouldn't be that bad, but I think it'll happen within the next year or two. I think once we go into a bear market. Are we in a bear market now? We're getting close, but I don't think we are. Next, this is the sector that I want to talk to you about, and that's NFTs and music. So NFT music platforms to disrupt Spotify in 2022, Saxo Banks predicts. Spotify and Apple Music reportedly cut 75% from musicians' revenues together with the cut paid to labels. As popular music streaming services like Spotify cut much of the musicians' revenues, new technologies like non-fungible tokens will likely help artists grab back their fair share. I think that NFTs and music make incredible sense, just like NFTs and gaming makes sense to me. Now, as we see, gaming, and metaverse stuff, it had its big spike. It's having a little bit of a pullback with Bitcoin. It's not seeing those green days while Bitcoin's still seeing red. It's pulling back with Bitcoin. It's a good thing. You've seen things like Gala Games go up like 800% in the matter of a couple weeks, I believe. You've seen Axie Infinity go from 10 cents to $155, $160 over the course of a year. I think they'll still be strong, but this is, I think, very, very interesting to me. One company that I like is Opulus, and they have digital ownership, digital NFT ownership. They have a few other things, but this is what really caught my attention, is that the rights to music through NFT ownership of the digital rights. So Oculus brings decentralized finance to the music industry, changing how artists access the funding they need and providing a launch pad for the first music copyright-backed NFTs. That's what I like about it. I mean, they do other things too, right? So I guess they work with Lil Pump and Tyga. Not a fan of Tyga, really. Never really heard of Lil Pump. But big name. Tyga's a big name. Even my wife knows him because he was on the Kardashians, keeping up with the Kardashians. I forget, exactly what was on there. Yes, it's my wife. It's not me. I do not watch the Kardashians. I cannot. I watch a lot of trash television with my wife, but the Kardashians are not one of them. Anyways, so they have an NFT launchpad, NFT exchange, DeFi loans, so musicians can get the funding that they need. But I believe Martin Garrix is already working with them, and he has used their copyright-backed NFTs for digital ownership of his music. I think that's huge, because you think about back in the days of LimeWire and Napster and things like that, where people were just like downloading music and they didn't have the rights to it, blah, 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 blah. Now, being backed by non-fungible tokens, NFTs, it turned like brilliant. I think that's a really, really good sign to look into. So I did look into this. It is up significantly. But from my calculation, based on the total supply, can't find the circulating supply, but if the circulating supply is the same as the total supply, that puts it at about a $6.5 million market cap, with its max supply being $500 million. So $6.5 million market cap puts it into like the extreme micro cap territory. But I think that's one of those that, like, I in the micro caps, I don't really trade the charts. It's kind of hard to. It's kind of like those ones, I say put maybe 5 or 10% of your portfolio into it, and it either is going to stay still, go to zero, or it has the potential of doing those 10x's and 100x's. But it's not. They're not some ones to put your whole portfolio into. I don't know if you're that risk tolerant and you want to risk losing everything, because that is the risk, and that's in all cryptocurrency really. But these are the highest risk. Anyways, really like that. Feel free to look into that a little more. But I think that's really cool. I think it's genius. It's kind of one of those things that I think that has clicked with me, just kind of like gaming and NFTs did, and then metaverse and stuff came out, and that started just skyrocketing, which that makes sense to me as well. So still relatively early. I don't have any of this. I don't own any of this. I will in the future. Just kind of watching. The riskier stuff is not what I want to buy dips on when Bitcoin is dropping. Lastly, with the news, first NFT-focused ETF list on the New York Stock Exchange. The launch comes as Cointelegraph Research projects non-fungible token sales will hit nearly $18 billion by the end of the year. What I wanted to touch on, the fund does not directly buy and hold NFTs to store in wallets. Instead, it tracks an index of companies operating or intending to venture into the NFT space, as well as the metaverse. The BITA NFT and Blockchain Select Index, which the fund intends to mirror, is maintained by Germany-based fintech company BITA. The symbol is NFTZ, and it has a management fee of 0.65% a year. And it is backed, its biggest holdings, notable holdings in the fund include Coinbase, Cloudflare, Playboy Group, Marathon Digital, and Hut 8 Mining. I know a lot of people that have been trading and involved in Hut 8 Mining, so kind of a big deal for them. Its biggest holding is Silvergate Capital at 6.74% of its net assets. Moving on, out of the news, getting into Bitcoin. Tanking today. What's the news on that? Joe Biden had a cough. Like, for real. That's it. There's scares of the Omicron variant. It's a mild variant of COVID, and I mean, we've been living with COVID, I'd say successfully. Some may argue that, but not to get political here. We've been living with COVID for a couple of years now, and aside from the massive inflation rates and my industry, the struggle to get parts and hire employees, and parts prices going up for vehicles, it's been difficult but manageable and successful. So I don't know why a mild variant. Maybe it's just because of the unknown. Maybe it's just because of the media. Let's be honest, it's mostly because of the media. But the stock market's tanking. I think SPX was down like 70 or 80 bucks. I think it rebounded maybe 10 bucks by close. And I'm doing this video later today because I'm leaving this heading into the close of after hours trading, because I think we're going to see a rally this weekend. It's kind of what we saw last weekend. This was last Friday, I believe. I don't want to be wrong here. Yeah, this was last Friday, November 26th. Big red candle. Then Saturday, Sunday, Monday, all green. Why? Stock market was closed. Scares of the Omicron variant were not there over the weekend. And the S&P wasn't reflecting any scare in that, or the Dow Jones, or whichever you follow, wasn't tracking any of that because they're closed on the weekend. So I think we're going to see something similar, probably put in a lower high. I'd love to see a higher high. If we don't put in a higher high, I'll sell all my ads that I made today. But, it'd be nice to see. But, I think once the stock market opens, you're going to see a sell-off, unless there's, some decent news or something changes, or, if Biden has COVID, then you'll see some real panic. But, I chuckle, but, I don't think that's going to be very good for him because he is an old man. So hopefully everything works out okay. Anyways, moving on. That's what I think is going to happen. I think once the after hours trading closes, we're going to, not immediately after, but that's going to give us the opportunity to rise like we did last weekend, and maybe see highs from the open, or the high of Friday, maybe 57,600 or 56.5. Hopefully it'd be nice to see a 59,000, or even break through that back into the 50,000s, test the 50-day moving average. That would be what I would want to see, but the market doesn't care about what I want. Bitcoin dominance is in a continual fade, so that just means that altcoins aren't falling as fast as Bitcoin. Usually when we see Bitcoin fall, altcoins fall faster, and that's not every altcoin. There are some real disasters out there, Badger had a hack or an exploit where somehow they voted in the governance token. If the ownership in the governance token, Badger DAO allows you to be a part of the votes, and somehow there was an exploit where voting passed to rug pull, and you could see it just tanked. It was down 15-20% yesterday. But Bitcoin dominance is dropping, but we could see the altcoin market caps, the total three, so altcoins, every altcoin excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. Every coin excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum is red, also dropping below the 50-day moving average. Not what we really want to see. We'll see how that responds. There is a lot of support, as you can see right here. I don't have many lines drawn on here, but a lot of support at these levels, so we're looking for that to hold. If you add in Ethereum, again, kind of the similar looking thing, where we're at, we have a lot of money exchanged at these levels. Even back here, we've seen highest levels of support. So we'll see if that holds just in this sideways channel, which isn't all that bad compared to what Bitcoin's doing, which is in a downward channel. But we'll see how that responds. Moving on, another chart I wanted to share, Bitcoin shorts on Bitfinex. It started to pop up, and they have generally been right. I know one of the YouTubers I watched looked into the wallets, and it's generally the CEO or whatnot of Bitfinex that is one of the only people shorting, but generally been right. So we want to keep an eye on that. Hopefully it just fizzles out, but if it spikes up, I'd expect further downside, or if it spikes up on a pop, I would expect it to drop right back down. So one thing to watch. Moving on to Ethereum. Dropping below the 50-day moving average. One big thing that I've been talking about is that Ethereum looks good above the 50-day moving average. It's looking better than Bitcoin. Now we're below it. And let's see, it closed at 42.16. The 50-day moving average is at 43.23. 2% of that would be 80. Let's see, calculate 2% of, I just don't want to be wrong here, 0.02 times 43.23. Yeah, it's 86, so not looking good. We had pretty high volume, 2% below the 50-day moving average. Not looking good. Bitcoin not looking good either. So both not looking very good. I'd be realistic about that. Let's see here. Okay, so real quick, wanted to head over to stockcharts.com because one thing I like to use in longer term views of the market is the Ichimoku Cloud. It's a combination of many indicators, and I like to use it in the long term to determine long-term bull or bear markets. When we come below this cloud, it's not a good thing, and we're below it. So if we could jump back into it, that would be great. So I'm not quite bearish yet, but I have, if you follow me in Stock Market Mentor at all, where I like to post content at, I have closed out a lot of positions over the last month or so, and I'm going to go over a few more that I dropped, which you might be surprised at, but I do like to use this as an indicator for bullishness or bearishness in the overall long-term market and not looking good. So first off, let's get into the ones that are looking good. Let's have some positivity. And though down 3% today, that's in the new daily candle, so not a good start to the day, but that's okay. We're still inside the previous day's candle, and we've had a really good ride through the downtrend of Bitcoin. Polygon, one that has been waiting on forever, and I made some ads in the 190s, and they're looking good. I would expect to, we're coming up just short of this 245 area. What did we hit? 240. Okay, so that's a good spot to maybe take some profits on that, especially being that Bitcoin is not looking that great. Though we do have the expectation, I do at least, to see a little upside in Bitcoin over the weekend. Not a huge amount, but enough. Another one looking really good is Luna. Luna, upward part of the channel, puts it at about 86. If it were to hit it today, this may go 95 to 100. It could come down and test the 50-day moving average again first, because we do have this mid channel here, that we're kind of getting rejected by. And that's not a perfect line, but you could see, another one to follow. Anyways, we could maybe come down and even test, right about here, about $58, $59 area. That would be ideal. See a nice healthy pullback, correction, and then continue to run. Now, if Bitcoin keeps dropping, it's not going to matter after a while. There's going to be nothing that's strong that's going to take the whole market down with it. It will. It just does. That's how it has worked the last 10 years. And Atom, ATOM, Cosmos. I've talked about this briefly months ago. Never really followed it too much. I do like them, and they are a layer one. Atom, I do like them. I don't really follow them too much, but they had a really good day on really high volume. Unfortunately, here's the weakness. Here's your discouragement right here, is running into the 50-day moving average, breaking above it, and selling back below it, and not recovering back above it. So probably see a little bit of a pullback, especially if Bitcoin continues to come down. So those are three that have looked good through this whole Bitcoin pullback the last few days, the last week actually. Slow fade today being the worst of it, but you can see Friday's daily candle right here was really strong. So like to see some positivity, even if I'm not a part of it. So if you were, I know a couple people did take a trade on this, so great job. 3 of them that I dropped now. Now about a week, about a day ago, I dropped 1 inch just because, this is just increasing weakness, rejection by the 50-day moving average. And I'd like to see a bounce at the 200-day moving average. We didn't. So I got rid of 1 inch. It was looking like a really good buy area, around the high 3s and the $4 area, but did dump 1 inch. Might have been a pump here with one of the YouTube channels, but I do like them. I watch them heavily. I'm not opposed to jumping back into a position with them, but right now with Bitcoin looking how it is, I am, holding on to some cash. Another one I dropped was Litecoin a while ago, earlier in the week, just because I didn't like the drop down from the 290s. I sold some at the 290 area. That was the target. That was for a long time. 292 was where the resistance was. And then I sold the rest of my position, when we couldn't break through the 50-day moving average. And we're back down to 187. Would like to see the 200-day moving average hold, which is currently at 173.70. But almost looks like a little head and shoulders here. Head, shoulder, shoulder. Kind of a sloppy one, not a super clear one, but not liking that. Lastly, surprisingly enough, if you follow me, my content in Stock Market Mentor, like I, sold 2/3 of my position when it was back around, I forget exactly when it was, the conference, the developer conference, when we ran up to $3. I didn't get anything sold at $3 range, but in the 290s I sold about half, and then in like the 260s or 70s I was able to sell a little bit more. And then I had a third size position that I bumped up to 50% size. It's not working out. I think we probably head down to see the 200-day moving average if support doesn't hold here from this previous high back at 194. So we'll see. It's not looking super solid right now, so I do expect a little more downside. So exited that position for the first time in a long time. Anyways, those are the 3 positions I dropped. 3 positions that I picked up. 1, Superfarm added to. I do have the position, but I like this ascending triangle. We'll see. It looks like it's threatening to break down from it. Still have the 50-day moving average, but you could see that, we have this level right here. Higher low, higher low, higher low. Want to continue to see that higher low and then break through that resistance level. I didn't add a ton here just because I don't want to ruin a position because it was buying in the 80s and turned out really, really well. Almost not quite, but Luna, probably one of my better ones since the end of summer. Luna was one of those that I just could not win. I couldn't catch a break on that one, and then I finally bought it at $10 or slightly under and just held it, and sure enough, here we are, hit $70. So, and I haven't bought or sold any since then. It just kind of sits there. Lastly, bond. I bought a little bit more bond. I think it's got a little bit of a time left. I think we've seen the worst of it. A lot of money change between here. Could we see low 20s? Yeah, I don't think we see much lower than that if we do. MACD just doesn't want to flip across over. That would be nice to see. It's going to have to show some strength in the next day or two. Also got nice rejection at the 50-day moving average. So I think we're going to see a couple more of these periods, where it's just kind of a fade down or maybe fade sideways with another spike up. And then chart that kind of reminds me of that's a little more clear and a little more price movement is CGG. We kind of had like 1, 2, 3, 4 moves, and then we took off. I think we got 2 of them on bond. I think we got a couple more to go. So I'm being very patient with it. It's a very frustrating one because, I was in at 27 initially and got to see it right up to 60 and sell off in the same day. Actually bought some at 38 on the pullback here, and then I sold a good size of my position at 35, expecting it to come back down to like 28, 29. It did. I bought back in. My average is slightly below $27. Buying this more for the fundamental side of it. I just think that if it does catch on, it could be really big. If it doesn't catch on, it doesn't catch on. It could possibly be considered a micro cap. It is above $100 million market cap. So it's not something you want to put a ton of money into. Like I said, maybe 10% of your portfolio across all of your micro caps, but a little bit bigger than I consider $100 million a little bit bigger than a micro cap. But yeah, picked up a little bit more of that. And as you can see, like we have some time because we're going to have to now break through this, which, currently if we were to do it today, would put it at like $45, $46, but that's going to lower slightly over time. Just want to hold these bases. 25.51 would like to get back above. If we head down to the 23, 24 range, not too bad either, but it's just one to be patient with. At least I'm trying to. But again, one of those ones where, kind of believe in the long-term fundamentals of it and see how it goes. Lastly, Umbrella. Haven't talked about this one until recently, and do like this. Holding support and holding above the 200-day moving average, buying at the bottom of this flag. Well, yeah, I guess you could still call it a flag, even as low as it's come. I'm looking for a retest of the 50-day moving average, which will probably come down to about 55 cents, where these highs were made before. So I'm expecting the 50-day moving average to come down, be around the 55-cent range, and looking, nothing's guaranteed, but looking for the price to come up to that 55 range, where I would take some profits on the entry, not close out the whole position, because this is another one that, like, they want to compete with Chainlink, so it did run from like 20 cents to 90 cents, 95 cents, so it has that potential to do that again. Anyways, that's everything. One thing I did forget to mention with Barnbridge Bond, what you want to watch is their Smart Alpha. That's their new big product that they're pushing. It helps, upside leverage, and it helps downside protection. So it's really, really targeted towards high wealth investors. And you want to watch the total value locked in the Smart Alpha. So if you go to barnbridge.com, Smart Alpha pools right here on the side, this is what you want to watch. And if that grows, the price should grow. If not, it'll probably go down. So anyways, that's what I'm doing. I really like what NFTs are doing with the music industry. Kind of similar to how I like what NFTs are doing with gaming. Bitcoin, expecting a little relief rally this weekend, probably more selling on Monday once the stock market opens. Went over the 3 that are looking good, want to remain positive. 2 of them I hold, Polygon and Luna. And then for those who that were in Atom, then congratulations, like great day Friday for those people. So hopefully that continues. And then hopefully I'm wrong and next week some good news comes out and we see a rally. Really, don't want to go back down into the 30,000 areas, but anything's possible, especially in crypto. Then the 3 that I dropped that are looking really weak, and then the 3 that I added that I really like. I've really been in a position of, more cash for one thing, and then less positions, larger size. But I haven't really built those. I've added to a few things, but I haven't really built those to a larger size just because of the way the market looks. Anyways, gonna end the video there. I know it's Friday night. I know everybody's probably going out to dinner, or if you're younger, going out partying or whatever, so may not get to this, so may not have that many views, but I wanted to get a video out. Maybe you watch it tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, and it's 20 minutes, 18 minutes till Bitcoin close, so maybe I'll get this out, and the video will upload right at 6 o'clock so we could see what happens and what we start to do once the after-hours trading stops. So that being said, if you liked this video, hit the like button for me and also subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it greatly. Again, it gives me the validation that I'm putting out content that's useful to people and they're getting good information out of it and they enjoy it. So please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.